Lads, Kelsey Mitchell's injury yesterday was something that didn't look like it was too bad. And then I got really, really scared because of the way she went down. Because of the way she went down, as in she's kind of like, kind of limping towards the referees and then just dropped. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I thought, like, people were mentioning, they were like, oh, like blood clot. Some people said cardiac arrest. I'm like, oh God. The way she went down, Jesus, maybe.
Hello everyone, and a huge welcome back to TFD. We've got another essential video for you today. And folks, this is a big one. The dust has barely settled on the season, but the drama is just getting started. It appears that Indiana Fever's own Kelsey Mitchell has finally come forward to speak about the scary situation in last night's game. But here's the real kicker, the plot twist you didn't see coming. She isn't the only one with something to say. Caitlin Clark has also entered the conversation. When you start connecting all these dots, the narrative deepens and this whole story becomes incredibly compelling. For this one, we have to go straight to the heart of it in Indy. So buckle up, let's dive in. Let's do this. Alright, look, I have to be completely straight with you all. I'm wrestling with some seriously conflicted feelings about that last game. You ask me if I think it was rigged? In all honesty, yeah. In a very specific way, it absolutely felt like it, and I am fully aware that some of you were not happy with my previous comments about Coach Steph and her particular defensive schemes, but I have to double down on this, because the more I analyze it, the less it sits right with me. It's a glaring issue. Just take a look at the sheer number of injuries this season. It's almost exclusively the guards and the small forwards who are going down. Not the bigs, not the power forwards or centers, but the quickest, most agile players who are being systematically forced to overexert themselves defensively, game after game after game. That isn't just a string of bad luck, people. That's a destructive pattern. When you constantly run your fastest players into brick walls and demand they guard opponents with a significant size and weight advantage, something's eventually gotta give. It's an unsustainable strategy. Let me put it this way for you. You would never ever see Steph Curry being tasked with trying to lock down a player built like Dennis Rodman. That's not just a mismatch in the NBA. That would be considered coaching malpractice. So why is it happening here? It points to a fundamental mental zanding of personnel, and frankly, it's putting players' careers and well-being at risk. I felt I had to get that off my chest before we even touch on what Kelsey Mitchell herself revealed. The defensive philosophy of the Fever is raising massive red flags. And when her diagnosis was finally revealed, man, it was even more serious than anyone could have imagined. We're not talking about a simple sprain or a pulled muscle here. This is something else entirely. As Chloe Peterson reported, Kelsey Mitchell suffered from rhabdomyolysis, a rare but severe muscle injury. The standard treatment involves IV fluids and intensive physical therapy. The Cleveland Clinic even states that while most people recover, they can face lingering muscle weakness for several weeks. So this is what was tweeted out, and it just floored me. And you know, I realize many people had strong emotions about the whole situation. I'll be honest, I was one of them. After I posted my video on Kelsey last night, I had to log off. I just wasn't in the right headspace. I didn't have the energy to even talk about Indiana Fever basketball, because there are just too many complex moving parts to their season, and too many questionable reasons for why they ultimately lost. Sure, you could sit there and say it was the referees. You can point fingers and assign blame wherever you want, but here is my unwavering position. If they had Caitlin Clark on that floor, they would be champions right now. I will stand on that hill all day long. I genuinely, truly believe that with Caitlin Clark playing, they would have rolled past Minnesota, handled Phoenix, and beaten Las Vegas. In fact, I think they would have dominated Las Vegas. Vegas might have scraped by with a single lucky win, but that series would have been wrapped up last Saturday. Think about the defensive attention she commands. That opens up the floor for everyone else. Aaliyah Boston wouldn't be seeing constant double teams in the post. Kelsey Mitchell herself would be getting more open looks from three. Clark's gravity on the court fundamentally changes the entire offensive equation. I have zero doubt that if Caitlin were playing, the Fever would have been the first to clinch. It wouldn't have even been close. Easy. And now, I want to share the message Kelsey put out herself, because hearing it in her own words is just It's incredibly powerful. It really puts you right there in that terrifying moment with her. She wrote, "To the Fever fans and fans of Kels Hoop, me letting you all know about my health is just me showing love and respect to those who showed it to me. I suffered from something called rhabdomyolysis last night. My muscle stopped producing and reached its maximum capacity. I went into a sense of numbness, paralyzing feeling with no movement from my lower extremities for up 5 to 7 seconds. Can you even imagine that? In the middle of a high-stakes game, to completely lose control of your body, that is absolutely terrifying." She continued, "Because my muscles stopped producing positive blood to my bloodstream, my body locked up from a physical standpoint, and from there, fatigue and cramping settled in. It sucked. I panicked because I began to think the worst when I felt like I couldn't move my leg. It was an out-of-body experience for me, and I thank God for covering me at a time like that. So today, on October 1, I am walking and moving at a slow pace, but I will be fine very soon. I want to thank the Fever medical team, Vegas medical team, and the staff at the local hospital for keeping me safe. In other words, I played literally till my wheels fell off."
It's been cool to just grow my friendship with her, and I don't want to be like everybody just wants to like get more from her, take more from her, like get more answers to things, and I don't want to be that. I just we're friends, and I think that's a cool part. If she wants to talk basketball, we'll talk basketball. If not, I'm totally fine with that as well. But I think we've grown a pretty
Ryan
cool
Rucco
friendship.
said Caitlin helped put a magnifying glass on the league because it showcased the foul inconsistency to a larger audience. Also that the league should take more steps in training officials and establishing the level of physicality early in games.
And this is an area where I think, Caitlin in so many ways has been a magnifying glass for different things that go on in this league, right? And in this sport. And I think a wonderful way. And I think we've seen a lot of fans be introduced to the league and they're watching and they're like, wait, what? You can get away with what? And I think, now, you have kind of a broader understanding of what's gone on when it comes to, just off-ball contact. So if I was just going to take one thing right away, to me, there's a lot of like two hands, like on people, just really stopping their movement, off the ball that I don't think is conducive to.
That line, "I played literally till my wheels fell off." Wow, that shows you the heart of a true warrior, but it's also a profound statement. Players shouldn't have to push their bodies to that literal breaking point. Look, I know I've had a lot to say about Kelsey Mitchell at different points this season, and let me be perfectly clear, I am doing my job as a sports analyst. That's what this is. I break down plays, I share my opinions, and sometimes those opinions might sound harsh. But I want to state for the record that I have no ill will, no bad feelings, no personal animosity towards Kelsey whatsoever. It's a tough line to walk in this business. You critique a performance, a strategy, a stat line, and it's easy to forget there's a human being on the other side of that analysis. My intention is never to attack someone personally, but I understand how words can land differently than they're intended. So if she or her family or her team took my words the wrong way, I want to sincerely apologize for that. At the end of the day, none of that matters now. All that matters is her getting back to 100%, and I am wishing her nothing but the absolute best in her recovery. I'm praying for her. May God cover her with love, strength, and complete healing. I hope everyone watching this sends nothing but positive energy and support to Kelsey and her family. We all have opinions, but when the game ends, she is a person, a daughter, a sister. And for me, I just want the best for her, health, peace, and success.
Showcasing the skill and the talent. So that would be my first thing. And then, I also think there probably has to be a conversation about, how do you invest in and develop the, best officials in the world? How do you make sure, your rules beyond just that movement, although I think like that emphasis on freedom of movement would do a lot. How do you make sure that everything is kind of showcasing the best skill? Because to your point about the college game, you adapt, right? You have those rules, that's going to make you play a certain way, right? So if in game, 1 through 5, every time, Kelsey Mitchell's running off a screen, or Jackie Young is, or, Kelsey Plum, or name your player, they're getting touched and whoop, whistle, well,
Stop
probably
doing
the thing, yeah, I can't do this anymore,
Exactly.
like, so I think that, but I do think that like there has to be, or there, in my opinion, there should be some, just some acknowledgement of like, okay, maybe this has been allowed in a way that isn't going to be, best for the sport moving forward.
Right.
Tyrese Halliburton really hit the mark with what he said about Caitlin Clark, by the way. And Ryan Ruocco mentioned how Caitlin has become a magnifying glass for the league, exposing the inconsistent foul calls to a massive new audience. He's right. He also said the league needs to invest more in training its officials and establishing what is and isn't legal physicality from the opening tip. This brings us to the future. Chloe Peterson reported that the Fever's exit interviews are set for Thursday morning. The list is stacked. Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and others, along with Coach Stephanie White and GM Amber Cox. This isn't just a standard end-of-season press conference. This is a potential turning point for the Indiana Fever franchise. For GM Amber Cox, the hot seat is absolutely scorching. What will she say about holding Clark out? Will she stand by it? And then there's the main event, Caitlin Clark. She has been a model professional, saying all the right things, but the season is over. The gloves can come off. Will she finally speak on her frustration with the front office? Will she address the officiating and call out the league for not protecting its stars? A single honest sentence from her could send shockwaves through the entire WNBA. I'm telling you, I am on the edge of my seat. I need to know if these interviews will be streamed live because I am not waiting for a recap. I need to witness this in real time. So tomorrow we are locked in. The one I'm circling in red is Caitlin Clark. She is the big joker, the wild card that can change everything. Everyone wants to know what she has to say, and it's finally time. The season is over. The excuse of avoiding distractions is out the window. Now is the time to be real. She needs to put her foot down. The time has come. I absolutely cannot wait. So get down in the comments right now. What's the #1 question you want a reporter to ask Caitlin Clark tomorrow? Do you think she drops a bombshell? Do you think Unrivaled announces her future? Let me know everything you're thinking. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. We have so much more coming your way.